Good evening, everybody, from SSRL and myself. Welcome to another evening of Formula One racing. It is season 4 and it is round number 3, and it is round the Mexico circuit it's in Mexico. What on earth was I saying there? But anyway, listen, before we go any further, let's go into your standings as they are right now. It is Herman the German leading your way in the championship by a whole 20 points. Of course, 2 race wins out of 2 thus far. Then Andy Andre, the championship competitor from last season, up 5 positions, is in second, 20 points behind. And then, of course, with the same points deficit, it is Pleasant Snake. And then Danger David in 4th, having a bit of a poor race in Kota last time out. He rounds out the top 4. Then it's Moksha in the top 5. Then it's Daryl, Son, Trugster, still getting penalties, so nothing's really changed there. In 8th, Race Chase in 9th, and then Kovachka rounding out your top 10. Then outside of that, it is Energetic, Evor, former, competitor from last season, Rush the Series, really struggling to get himself off the ground in 13th. Enzo in 14th. Good qualifying results don't translate into race pace as of right now. He is stuck way down where he probably shouldn't be. Quan is 15th. Then it's Toby in 16th. Jolly Boy John 17th. Skid Solar 18th. 19th is Tarkagino. And Quincy rounding out with 2, with 1 DNF. 1 did not start, all the way down in 20th. Then in the constructors, that's where the story needs to develop a little bit. Obviously, it's Mercedes leading the way since last round, ahead by 4 points only to the Ferrari, and then the Red Bull are 10 points behind in 3rd. Then it's 4th, Williams, Aston Martin 5th, with the same amount of points as Williams. Then Alpine and McLaren 6th and 7th. Racing Bulls, Sauber and Haas rounding out your 10 teams thus far, and I do believe we are about to get underway. But some information from race control for you. Both Saubers are out of the running this week, so it is going to be Sinful and Traban filling in. Now, that obviously means that the reserves will not score points for the constructors. So in terms of that journey, that is one they will go no further with. And Daryl looked like he wasn't going to show up for a hot minute, but in the end did decide to come in, and I do appreciate taking time out of his schedule to race tonight, of course. He's had a couple of personal things happen to him, and I do hope he does well today and has a good race. For the sake of himself, we should have started about a minute ago, but I think we're just waiting for a few drivers to come in, and then we will be underway sooner rather than later. Now, obviously, the questions coming into this week are, is Herman going to make it 3 from 3, or is someone going to finally take it to the German driver leading the way in Season 4? Well, some of our best bets are likely to be David and Andy, considering of what we've seen thus far. Maybe Snake can have a look. The Scuderia Ferrari's really doing well this season. Of course, Trugster and Pleasant Snake are taking up the Ferrari driving seats this season around, and maybe finally something can come together. Third time's the charm is always the barn. Anyway, constructors, obviously, we always know it's hard to call there. So Ferrari could take a good chunk of points. They would need a good points result. Remember, points go all the way down to 15th position. So it doesn't necessarily mean when you're outside the top 10 that you're not within a points scoring position. So do remember that as well. In terms of Nasiri, he would love to get his season underway here in Mexico, so he would need a really good result. At the moment, as you saw, 14th on only 8 points so far. It's been a really disappointing start, and if he could actually take the pain to Herman this week and try to bring it in, the man, the myth, the legend, Dave, says Daryl's Gaming. Thank you very much. But as I was saying, you know, Rush Nasiri needs a good result this week, and he could usefully use maybe a win, maybe even a podium. Remember, he was one of the top 3 fighting for Season 3's championship, and in the end, had a hand in the final race in dictating Andy taking the championship in Season 4. Remember, barreling into Turn 1 in Saudi Arabia, taking Herman out, spinning him around, and that gave Andy a double champion. Season 2 and 3 belong to him, but it will be Season 1 and 4 for Herman. With the way things are continuing now, the countdown begins. The excitement builds up at last. Will be underway very shortly. Now, last time we were here in Mexico, SSRL had a really good-looking podium of Fellow Son in first, Evo in second, Andy in third. And, well, where was Herman in all of that? What I hear you ask. Well, Herman got a 3-second penalty, and he went from 2nd to 4th position, which is what gave Evo and Andy their respective finishes. And then Jolly Boy John as well, could have had 4th, but he also suffered the same fate as Herman, so sadly had to settle for 5th place. But what a top 5 that is. And it could be very similar start, and we will have just another minute before we get proceedings underway. Remember, it is an 18-minute qualifying, followed by a 50% full race distance, and then we will have post-race interviews. But now the session is going to get underway now, according to my graphic at the top center of the screen. And, well, we should just be underway. 18 minutes. It should be Daryl first out, as he is already in chat. He's even first in chat today. So, Daryl wanting the firsts this week, but let's see if he can actually get to first on track. Let's keep an eye on him. Clearly very eager today. And, Daryl, I really do hope you're doing okay today, my guy. I'm really sorry for the news that you shared with us, and I really do hope you're doing well. So anyway, I'm sure if Daryl is comfortable to share more information, then he will do so in the chat. But otherwise, we will respect his privacy for the time being on the broadcast. But anyway, an 18-minute session is underway. Daryl should be the first one out if tradition is to follow on. But otherwise, we will wait and see. Now, of course, this circuit was opened first in 1959, but originally designed by designer Oscar Fernandez in 1953 for his student thesis. It was originally named Magdalena Miskucha, which was, of course, the park it was built in, but then it did change name to the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. I think that's what it's called, but don't quote me on that, as now we are seeing a V-Carb and a McLaren make their way out onto the track, so it will not be Daryl who will be first out. Even Danger David is already making his way. It's one of the McLarens. It's SSRL Energetic 6 who is going to lead the field out, and it's already very busy through turn number 1, and a lot of drivers making their way out early. A flurry of activity, and I'm a bit surprised by that. Usually we see a few very tentative drivers come out, and usually it all kind of follows on from there. It's usually a bit more organized, but a lot of drivers clearly eager to get on with things. Of course, it is a shorter lap round the Mexico City circuit. It is only takes you about 1:17 on average. In fact, the race lap record is a 1:17.774, which belongs to Valtteri Bottas in the Mercedes W12 back in 2021. And it's only a length of 4.304 kilometers, which, of course, in case if you need this, is 2.674 miles with 17 turns separating them from the start to the finish. Quincy in the chat there under the name Kingwin 3000. He's thinking it might rain, and you know what? I have to agree. It is certainly looking overcast here in Mexico. We are now underway, and Energetic 6 will be the first to get proceedings underway. Like we said, let's go on board with him here. One of the longest straights on the Formula 1 calendar. You barrel into turn 1, also called the SS Moises Solina. Bit wide there, needed to hit the apex for a preferable line through here. You can practically bounce the car on the curbs there, but Energetic deciding to not do that, and that might lose him some time, you know. Not doing himself any favors here. Now you want to plant yourself fully right as you want to go left through here as wide as you can for a right-hander. Get onto the exit curb. Just get yourself set again for a double apex corner. And now, try and be careful with your right foot through there. Now, you want to plant yourself fully right to go left. And so far, so good through here, but a bit unstable. Looks like that rear end not wanting to play ball as of right now. Be careful of the curbs there. They can carry your car off to the white line if you're not careful. Now, you want to go fully left here as you bounce over that sausage curb there, gaining the maximum most amount of time you can. Now, it's slow couple of corners through here. Try and gather yourself as this final corner will come at you thick and fast. And now, for pedal to the metal all the way through here, it's a 1:14.813, and that actually is not a bad time at all, as we're going to see Rush the Siri come through with a 1:15.668. A bit surprised for him. Then Quan. So, and there you go, Andy Andre right off the bat there with a 1:14.428. Trugster not too far off either, but then Danger David, who he was talking about his qualifying performance at the end of the first race in Imola. And at the moment, well, he has got pole position for the time being. Daryl down by a couple of seconds there with a 1:16.496, but he is on a set of mediums, so just take that with a grain of salt. See, and the so speaker looks so strange after watching the IRL. Dave of the G says, I know. Also, Chatwell just needs some updates. I do agree with that, but anyway, that's a different story for a different time. Enzo and Fellow Son coming in. Fellow Son, your previous winner around here. Herman the German as well is on a lap, and this is where a lot of drivers are keeping their eye on. The Mercedes driver looking to get revenge after what happened in Season 2, and it is only... Season 3 even, and it is only a 1:14.769 down in 8th. Herman was talking about how he wasn't sure coming into this Grand Prix. David absolutely hates the Alpine. That must be Danger David he's talking about there. Can't be myself. I've not said anything of the sort. But Moksha also jumping up into second. He's been an absolute star, a complete rookie from last season, and now coming good. But Kovachka as well is on a flying lap. He is going through the S's as we speak before going to Rector Ovalo even. And now there you go, coming through Full Sol here, which is this left and right-hander. And we'll see what the lap time is. Kovachka, the only one on a flyer. as of right now. Some drivers will just be recharging their ERS, which in case you don't know, I'll explain in just a second. It's a 1:15.854, which is good enough for 11th, ahead of his teammate at the very least, but his teammate with time to find only with a 1:16.496 on old medium so far. Moksha will now, I believe, come into the pits, and already we have had just over 6 minutes of the session elapsed, and now Jolly Boy John and Enzo are going to go out on some flying laps, but I do believe Enzo might be providing slipstream for his teammate. Both Hasses not off to the most brilliant of starts there. Enzo with the qualifying pace over his teammate, but when it's come to the race, he's only had himself to blame with track limit penalties, and in fact, going through Moises Solana there, I think he's ruined that, but Energetic with the fastest lap of qualifying so far. He is proving to be quick round here. Well, 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 do we have a surprise in store today? Will Mexico be the downfall of Herman the German, who is currently 9th place and currently in the pits, as Daryl also improves by a second there, up into 11th. It's Tabran, who is filling in for the, well, is one of the drivers filling in for the Kick Sauber, of course. If you've just joined, both Quincy and Evil are out. Evil currently on a work trip, and Quincy sadly with a bad back. Hope to see them again next week. Somebody else has filled in a time here. I believe that was Skid Solo, I believe, or was it Daryl or Rush? I think it was Rush the Siri into 11th with a 1:15.054 there. So, again, Rush the Siri still struggling to find form, but he is only 8/10 off on 3-lap-old softs. So Imagine Track Evolution will go his way, as now Traban kicks himself up into 12th for the 1:15.659, and now Tarkan Gino is really the only one on track right now on a genuine flyer, unless the houses did not improve. In fact, they are straight into the pits. What is Pleasant Snake up to, actually? I do believe Pleasant Snake is on a push lap as well, so we'll keep an eye on him as his lap concludes. At the moment now, we are just approaching the stadium section of the track right now. And look, personal best through sector 2, but of course, he's got no delta to compare that with, as this is the first time he is setting a lap as of right now. Tarkan Gino through the final corner now, the long right-hander, and that is good enough for 12th position at the very least. What about Pleasant Snake? 5 seconds off. He's on an in-lap, and that will do for now. And now with under 10 minutes to go, chat, fire some predictions your way. Who do you think's going to be on top of qualifying? I'm guessing rain isn't scheduled. It's just gloomy, judging by Herman being in the pits, waiting to come out on track at its grippiest. Herman, yes, indeed. So, at the moment, Sarah, with some good observations here. Andy Andre, though, is on a lap. It seems he's just improved by just under 2/10 in Sector 2. So, I think Andy Andre could be on for another lap here. Round the final corner now, with 9 minutes to go. It's a 1:14.352, 6 thousandths of a second off. But now, who will be next across the line? It is going to be Trugster here. So I'll cut back to Dage David in just a second. But no, Trugster has abandoned that lap, and he's now into the pits. So now, it is all about either Andy Andre or Dage David. Although we've just seen Andy Andre just come across the line, so he will be on an in-lap, and Danger David has improved by just, well, 9 thousandths of a second, so nearly a 10th there in this sector. Let's go. Sector 2 now coming up for Danger David through the S's through here. Very easy to get the track limits wrong. It is so tight round here, and a lot of drivers do lose their laps thanks to misjudging where the right line is, but in actual fact has lost time there. 8 thousandths of a second down on his personal best. Can he find anything magical in Sector 3 to get that time back and more? Looks a bit messy from David there, to be honest with you. But here we go, and there you go. He's into the pits now, unfortunately, so that's his lap abandoned. What about Herman the German, though? He's just started a lap himself. Sinful as well is starting a lap. He's just gone through Esses Moises there. Solana now approaching Essa Delago. And looking okay through there. Just a slight lock up there, but doesn't really affect him too badly. Trying to ride the limits of the track there. Nearly went across the right line there. You can see how much he's struggling with that kick Sauber. And at the moment now, he is trying to get a lap done. Only driver to have not done so. It's only the Red Bull of Moksha ahead. And he's down by 6,000. So everybody's struggling. He's really struggling with... well, a lot of drivers struggling with that Sector 2. And down by 3 thousandths towards the end of his lap. Oh, Gino, you still get that team time chat. We'll give you, especially if you have 2 screens. I only have 1 screen, unfortunately. So it would be a bit difficult for me to work with. But I believe we've talked about this before. And I believe I can make it work somehow. But anyway, at the moment, we are now seeing Enzo get the DRS and the slipstream advantage from his teammate there. And at the moment now, it is left to right through the stadium section corner. And now, through the right-hander, no, he's abandoned it. It's abandoned. Jolly Boy John will go for another fine lap. A lot of confusing information going on here. It has all gone a little messy here in Mexico. So I just wonder if the conditions are beginning to change and it's just a bit cooler out on track. Now, Darrell even down by 3. Well, no, he's not down. He's just started a flying lap as of right now. So through the first couple of turns, looking okay through there. But at the moment, Darrell really down on his usual qualifying positions. He was 7th last week in Kota and is 50% down on that. So it's going to be interesting to see if he can find any sort of improvement. Remember, that time is set on old medium tires, so you never know. Maybe he can find the crucial amount of time here now that Trek Evolution has gone his way. And just coming through the S's right now, looking a-okay. What is the improvement going to be in Sector 2, if any? It is half a second there, so a dramatic improvement from the Aston Martin driver. And we are, of course, going to cut to the Ferrari of Trugster once we've seen this lap. Now, coming through the stadium section, through the fine, well, second to last right-hander, long right-hander through here. What's the time going to be? To 1:15.1. It is, well, a half-second improvement, but a narrow positional improvement. Trugster has, unfortunately, invalidated his lap, so it's not going to be a completion for him, and I think it's the same for Snake. Oh no, a lot of drivers losing out due to the tight track limits round Mexico. It has been an absolute disaster class from some of the drivers, but Energetic taking advantage of it thus far, and Andy Ardre taking advantage of the fact that his championship rival is all the way down in 10th at the moment. It has not been a good day for him, but now Tarkangino is going to come across the line on a fresh set of softs, and we'll see what the time is. So from 12th to 11th, it's only a 1 position improvement, but half a second off the lead. The times are incredibly tight, and at the moment, it is very hard to tell how the race will go based off early impressions. Darrell again, just on a warm-up lap. Kovachka right behind as well, so they're preparing to do slipstream, to share the slipstream and DRS with one another, I would imagine. Andy Ardre, Energetic 6 and Fellow Sun currently out on a lap, and Energetic 6 currently holds pole position as of right now. A bit of a surprise, that one, considering Fellow Sun was your winner last time out, but although that was back on a different game and a different handling model, Energetic will now get underway. So coming across the start-finish line now, of course, we've got to keep an eye on Andy Ardre as well. It is going to be really interesting to see how these two drivers approach this final flying lap, or at least one of the final ones. They would have time for another after this one with just over 2 minutes to go. DRS open on the second straight after the first 3 turns there, and looking okay, but down by 6 thousandths of a second. What about Andy Ardre? He is up by 7 thousandths as of right now. So Energetic 6 really feeling the pressure now. He has got to find something through Sector 2. Coming up to the SS section now. Bit slidey through there. Will we catch a glimpse of Andy in the background? No, we won't. We caught a Ferrari, which might have either have been Snake or Truckster there. One of the Aston Martins having to move out of the way, taking advantage of the slipstream there. That'll be Daryl, so he'll be the first to complete a flyer in this group. And Daryl, at the moment, we don't know if he's improving or not. But anyway, coming round to the final 2 corners now. Aston Martin driver, does he improve? No, he doesn't. It's only a 115, but now to Energetic 6. That's an improvement there, but very slow. What about Anti-Andre now? He found 2/10 in Sector 2. What is it in Sector 3? It's a 114.0. Beat that, says the Romanian driver, and he now stamps his authority in Mexico. And who can match him? Not many, but Herman will be thinking, am I in trouble here? And he will need to find something very, very special in his final flying lap. He has not got a lot of time left, about 30 seconds for him to make it to track, or maybe this is it. Maybe he's happy with this. You never know. But then again, remember, pole here in Mexico isn't always the most advantageous. It isn't always the most advantageous of positions, because remember, it is one of the longest separations. Oh my word! Fellow son, out of nowhere, 0.02 of a second up into pole position. The McLarens lock out for the time being, first and third, and we still have a few flying laps to go. Truckster is on an improvement through sets 2. It was 0.08 of a second there, or 0.06 of a second, nearly invalidating the lap there, but that's kind of the first time we've seen anyone brave those sausage curbs, and he might have gained a lot of time for that. Truckster across the line now. It's a 114.181, and that brings him very close to the battle there of the lead. And at the moment, Pleasant Snake as well is on his outlap, so he'll be one of the last to set a flyer. I would imagine if this caution in set 3 could at least bring up the timing boards again, and Energetic will go for another flyer. What about Moksha? Moksha is completing, well, he's on his final flying lap, so a flurry of activity now as Herman the German as well on an outlap, and he will get time. He will just be across the line in time to set his final flying lap, currently in 10th position. 8 positions separate him and his championship rival, but 20 seconds separate him from a potential pole position. Away the Mercedes driver goes, and this could be do or die for the man who has won 2 out of 10. Fellow son has retired from the session. He feels he can do no more. I believe Andy as well. Is Truckster on a flyer? No, he's invalidated it. No, but he wasn't on a lap anyway. Never mind. Energetic 6 as well is on a flyer. Everybody improving as of right now. Enzo is one of the first across the line. He's going to be 7th as of right now. Rustasiri as well, 12th. Very disappointing for him. Tabran 14th. Kovachka 15th. What about Daryl? 13th only. That's going to be disappointing for him. But here we go. Energetic 6 to the line. Oh, it's a 114.1. So he stays 3rd for the time being. But Herman the German not too far away. 7 thousandths of a 7. No. That's like 7 millionths of a second or something like that, if I'm not mistaken. But no, there we go. Now 0.3 improvement. So at the moment now, as I try and do math in my head very quickly, at the moment, Herman improving by 0.3 in Sector 2. What about Sector 3? 111, 112, 113, 114.3. That is 7th position, but that is not too far away from pole at all. What about Danger David? Invalidated. So that will be the end of his qualifying. He qualifies 8th, but a great effort from Herman towards the end there. And it is very tight. 4/10 separate 1st and 8th. 6/10 separate 1st and 9th, and 7/10 just under separate the top 10. But outside of that, this is a very close one. It is under a second between the top 12. That could be some tight racing you're about to see tonight. It is going to be very, very, very exciting. I cannot wait to bring you this tonight. At the moment, it is going to be Andy Andre. No, had no tire attempts, says Daryl there. So Daryl's struggling with tire attempts, so that would explain a lot. But anyway, to go through your whole order right now, Fellow Son in pole position, Andy Andre 2nd, Pleasant Snake 3rd, Energetic 6th in 4th, Trugster 5th, Boxer 6th, Herman German 7th, 8th is Danger David, 9th is Enzo, Jolly Boy John 10th, Tarkin Gino 11th, Drush Siri 12th, 13th is Daryl, 14th Jabran, Kovacsky 15th, 16th Quan, 17th is Sinful, Skid Solo, rounding out your 18 drivers. And it is an 8 o'clock start, so we will just be right back. And don't go anywhere because we have an exciting race coming up for you right now. As you can see, the formation lap is now underway, and welcome back to everybody who is still with us as of right now. We are now going to go through the grid one more time before we get underway, and of course it is Fellow Son taking pole. Well, this is where he finished last time out, but he is going to be under the most pressure. Pole, not necessarily the optimal starting position in Mexico. Andy Andre in second place. Pleasant Snake taking a well-deserved third place right at the end of quali. Energetic 6 right up in fourth, and looked like he could have been pole for the longest time, but it wasn't meant to be. Trugster in fifth, Moksha seventh, Herman at the last grasp took 7th position there, ahead of Danger David in 8th as well. Still looking to find that magic form in qualifying. He continues to look for. It is Enzo just looking for some race pace here this round. He has been struggling to turn qualifying performances into effective race results. He starts 9th. His teammate Jolly Boy John flying the flag behind him in 10th. Tarkin Gino in 11th. Rush the Siri, not the start he would have wanted, down in 12th. Daryl in 13th, of course, hoping to pay tribute to somebody very close to him indeed. Traban in 14th. 15th is Kavachka, Kwan in 16th, 17th is Sinful, and Sid Skolo rounds out your 18 drivers as of right now. This game is weirdly yellow, especially when the sun's out. I get that, yes. Welcome Yori to the stream, as well as Anno as well. Welcome to you. And of course, we are coming to you live from Mexico, where the chat temperature is about 28 degrees Celsius and the bubbles are made out of 90% water. We are about to get underway in any time now. And there we go. We should be seeing the countdown to the lights begin. And we do. We have 3, 4, 5 red lights. It's going Mexico, and Andy Andre gets the start that he needed. They go alongside down the start finish straight, but at the moment now that McLaren looks to have good straight line speed as well, but the Williams and the McLaren go side by side. It is Andy Andre who wins out in the end, but in the background it is 3 or 4 wide. Fellow Son fights back on the outside and gets the lead back, but Moksha up into 3rd, Herman up into 4th, and already Herman making up 3 positions at the start. Pleasant Snake losing out as well. It has been an incredible start for the Mercedes driver, and now there's a McLaren of Energetic 6. Make the outside to the inside, and he nearly got that done, but didn't quite have the traction on the exit to make that work. But in the end, let's have a look at your winners and losers. Pleasant Snake, Trugster down. Energetic now goes down from 2 to 3 positions as Trugster makes an overtake, so the Ferraris lock out 5th and 6th as of right now. And by the end of the race, they would be leading the constructors if things stayed as they are right now. But look at Fellow Son. He is all the way. He's gone already from Andy Andre. And now Moksha, wow, nearly making contact with him there. That was a bit too close. But at the moment now, the rookie from last season is becoming the master in this season, as Fellow Son obviously gets fastest lap of the race. And Tabran has had a connection issue. He has left the session due to that, but now Moksha should have DRS going in to the next zone, which will be after these S's. And look at that, it's all line astern in the background, but right now we're about to see an overtake, or so I thought, with the Haas there on Enzo on Energetic there. Energetic now starting to drop like a stone to water, but his teammate is doing a fine job out at the lead of the race. So far, so good, but the top 5 are all concertinaed together as of right now. In fact, nobody, apart from Skid Solo, is outside of that DRS range. But now Tabran, of course, thanks to his disconnection issue, as he joins back in at perhaps the worst moment possible. Kavachka would need to try and find a way around as soon as possible, but I don't think he's going to get that opportunity. So that's 1.6 seconds from the Kick Sauber to the Mercedes in front. Now, do remember that the Kick Saubers only have reserves in this week, so they wouldn't score any constructors' points as of right now. But Andy Andre drops out of that DRS to Fellow Son, so now he's going to be vulnerable to the Red Bull of Moksha behind. Sinful does indeed lose a position right now at Kavachka there. That's for 15th, but now Herman the German with the fastest lap of the race. But now Andy Andre might be vulnerable to not just one, but just two cars, and one of them is his championship rival into turn one. The Red Bull and the Mercedes look to the inside, but does Andy fight back? Oh, there's contact between the Williams and the Red Bull, and now the Red Bull, who was gonna be fighting for second, now fights for third as now Taban has retired from the session. I can't quite see where that is. That is at turn one. And there might have been some calamity there. I don't know what's happened there, to be honest with you. And as that Kickstarter parks up, so we will not see a safety car. As now Pleasant Snake and Energetic 6 swap for 6th position. And Energetic 6 getting the exit on the corner there, but he's gone off track there. Won't need to give it back as he won't have gained an advantage on his opponent. So he should be okay to keep that position. But now Herman has done an exceptional job there. So Pleasant Snake again fighting back thanks to having the DRS there. And now Rush the Series is also making some moves as well around the outside of the stadium section. Oh, the pass getting a bit forceful there, if I'm being honest with you. That was a bit aggressive there from Enzo, but it worked well. At least the cars are still all facing the right direction as of right now. But now Andy Andre again has pressure. Herman knows he can defend round the outside now, so he will be aware of that as now Rush the Series does indeed get that place now. Deja David as well, despite all the chaos, he's not been able to move, and Tabran has joined, but he's not finished, so that will have been a disconnection issue, I do believe. Now, there's a lot happening everywhere. The Haas's have swapped position as well. Jolly Boy John now occupies 10th place and is the leading car for that team. And now through the double right-hander, we are looking at Fellow Sod getting away. Remember, Fellow Sod was considered king of the wet in Season 3, but now he's leading again. And remember, last time SSRL came here, Fellow Son was the winner, and by 6.43 seconds to Evil, who is sadly not with us today, but more importantly, 6.5 seconds to Andy Andre. So his pace in Mexico has translated from F1 23 to F1 24, but he hasn't had Herman catch up to him just yet. And Herman, well, he's been all about race pace, and now he has a chance. He is closer than last lap. He should be able to have a go as Rush the Series gets fastest lap there. A lot of overtaking to look at. We will cut to Rush the Series in a second. As now, wow, you can actually see at the back of your frame there, it's 3 wide, but going into turn 1, will Andy hold this? No, he doesn't fight that too hard, and now Danger David, and we cut back to the battle for 7th. Rush the Series up into 6th place, and now Danger David again unable to benefit from the movement of another driver there. So the V-Cop Rush the Series up into 6th, but now can Danger David make something work into turn 4? No, he can't. And look at the Haas in the background there. Oh, there's contact between him and a McLaren. That will be... Hang on, I'm trying to make this work here. I'm trying to make sense of who's who here. I thought that was a McLaren, but I think that was actually a Ferrari there, so I do apologize, because that would make sense, as Jolly Boy John has lost out to his teammate Enzo, or vice versa. Oh, it's all kicking off here. Already, though, Herman increasing that gap to... Herman increased that gap to Andy by 6/10 as we just saw Jolly Boy John go down the inside of the Ferrari of Snake there. So Snake dropping like a stone to water as of right now. We're going to reignite this battle for a second, because look, Fellow Son has only actually gained more time. Well, increased the gap even to the cars behind him. And now we are seeing Herman yet again come under pressure from Andy. And Andy tried round the outside again. And what it should be the outside should become the inside. Indeed it is. And he's back past there. But Darrell as well has begun to make moves as well. Ferrari off the track and down to 12th. We've got a caution in Sector 1. I believe that is for the Ferrari. Yes, a Ferrari off track of Pleasant Snake there. Chaos reigning supreme at the Autodromo Rodriguez here. I don't think I'm even saying that track correctly, and I do apologize. I will just kind of bring it up on my screen in just a second, and then we'll start getting things right. But anyway, at the moment, it is Fellow Son leading the way, and Andy Andre making a mistake, and he's spun round. Can he get it back together? No, he's into the barrier. Andy Andre with a fatal mistake, and all of a sudden, he now joins the Ferrari of Pleasant Snake, outside of the top 10, Andy, will be furious with himself because now Moksha has got no real help from the Williams either. He's lost the DRS advantage he would have on Herman. Look at that, no DRS at all. It should be easy as pie for Truckster and DeAndre right into the pits to change that front wing. What an unfortunate turn of events for the Romanian driver. That should be the hard tyre. And even then, it's going to be a bit tough to get them to the end of the race. We see Enzo down the inside of the Aston Martin of Darrell there, up into 8th position. Skid Solo doing the same thing on Sinful for 13th. But now, Truckster as well, back in the DRS of Herman the German here. It's looking unlikely fellow Son will be caught at this point. 3 seconds already. Up the Truckster, says Quincy. But of course, remember, Truckster is vulnerable to penalties at late stages of the race and even in the middle. Once those tyres start wearing, that's when he becomes a little unreliable with his track limits. So he'll just have to watch that. That will be plaguing everybody's mind at this point. But he's always been on for good results. He has the pace. And unfortunately for him, he's just never quite had the consistency to match. So hopefully this season can be the start of some new habits. We do have, well, what will be 29 laps to go at the line for these drivers. And now, Will Truckster try and have a go on Herman. He's not close enough. As of right now, Sinful is the second driver to actually get a 3-second track limits penalty. Oh no, he was the first, and then Quad followed suit shortly after. But look at Danger David up to 5th. Now make that 4th as the Red Bull drops another position there. Rush the Siri. Well, he's 2 seconds back from this, so he's lost touch. But then again, so has Jolly Boy John. So Rush the Siri in a race of his own, to be honest. And now it's Stage David looking to the outside of the 3rd place Ferrari of Truckster. And now we have a yellow flag in Sector 1 again. I think that's just for a vehicle off the track, so nothing to be done there. At the moment, right now, things just go to... Things are quite calm right now. It's just a DRS train from 2nd to 6th position. But Russia Siri already taking chunks of time out of this group of cars in front. Of course, the group of cars busy battling each other. And it's allowing everybody else behind to catch up to this. So this might turn chaotic sooner rather than later. And look at Danger David try to bump Truckster faster through the slow corners here. And now through the final right-hander, he will have DRS and it will be much closer to the Ferrari driver. Here we go, down into turn 1. Can he make a move work? He'll, of course, come out the slipstream as Truckster defends that as hard as he possibly can within acceptable limits, but it doesn't make a difference. Danger David now up into 3rd place. Maybe a bit of contact between those two. And now that's all said and done, but now Darrell, Joy Boy John, at least this group here, as now Moksha has lost another position as well. All sorts of moves happening. I can't keep up with all of this. Look up for the Red Bull. Can that McLaren make the outside to the inside work? I think he just about has, but the Red Bull has stubbornly remained there, but backs out through the double right-hander. And now Energetic up to 5th. I think Rush Siri in the background has made a slight mistake there. So he will lose ground on this battle as well. Now up to 2.4 seconds. But now, if you want to really have an update on the leader, 4 seconds at the moment between Son and Herman. And it looks like we know where this race is going to go. But fellow Son will also need to get the strategy right. But it is in his control. He just needs to kind of keep it round the track and not make any mistakes there. So consistency will be the name of the game for the McLaren driver, as now Herman is under pressure from the Scotsman of David there. The DRS opens, Herman with no defense at all, unless if he's using any ERS, which he looked like he was, judging that there was no flashing red light. But now Energetic is going to try and have a go at Truckster. Thought about it, but no dice in the end, as now Darrell has made a move on Enzo yet again. That's for 8th position there. So Darrell at least making some good moves there, up 5 positions as of right now. But at the moment, Darrell's still a long way off of this top 6, fighting for what is essentially a podium position. Clean air is king, as Piastri said. Indeed it is. Although for Rush Siri, he's having quite a time with the clean air. Now 3 seconds separate him from this train, essentially. And Danger David, look at this. The gap is down to 3.3 seconds. Has Danger David found something in the tank of the Alpine to potentially catch up to the leader? 3.2 seconds. We've got a caution in sector 2 for a spun Haas. A Haas has spun. I don't know where he is. He's just trying to get things underway. As Simple gets another 3-second penalty for track limit warnings. But now, do we see any damage? Yes, the fat front right end plate has gone missing. Quan there just catching up to the back of him. But look at Danger David. Down, that gap to lead is now down by 3 seconds. Rush, I mean, no practice will do that to you. Oh, that's Rush the Siri with no practice. Pleasant Snake with a 3-second track limits penalty now, as he gets overtaken by a few drivers, actually. So I think he made a mistake coming out the final corner. It must have been inspired by Leclerc there, as Enzo into the pits due to his damage. And Andy Andre in last position in unfamiliar territory there. He would need a safety car to really bring him back into this, as those hards, I can't imagine going to the end there. But right now, look at this. The clean air becoming king for David, and now that gap is down by 2.7 seconds, and the gap to second is up by a second now. So Herman has lost DRS to the Alpine here, and now look at this. Energetic to the inside here, into the save zone. Oh, they both make contact though! Both making contact. Caution will be out for sector 3, and in actual fact, Energetic gives that back. Felt that that was a bit aggressive, and unfortunately for him. And now look, oh, the Mercedes of Herman into the pit. So he's pitting on the hard tyres, I would imagine. Unless if he's got some sort of alternative strategy on the softs. But look at that gap Danger David has created. He is safe, and if a safety car was to come out now, well, he would benefit from this. But look now, Truckster making a move on the Red Bull driver and up into third position. But there you go, Quincy even saying, fair play, Energetic. And that was actually quite kind of him, as Targagino now into the pits as well. So he will be losing positions. And now, well, Herman out in 10th there. But now the McLaren and the Red Bull go side by side with one another into the corners here. And it's at the moment the Red Bull having to sit behind the McLaren for now. And Truckster holding on to third position, but for how long? We are not sure. Some of the closer battles developing right now. For 6th position, Rush the Syria as Pleasant Snake makes his way past Sinful in the background there. We'll just see what's going on, because that's continued on. In fact, that is through turns 4, 5, 6, and 7 there. And that's all kind of sorted itself out as the Ferrari gets past the Kick Sauber. Now, Daryl and Rush the Syria are going to resume battle, but has Rush the Syria lost that DRS advantage? Let's see, no. As of right now, 0.8 of a second separate him and the Aston Martin. And no other battles happening right now. So, V-Carb with the DRS. Can he get close enough to Daryl to try and have a go into turn 1? At the moment, underneath 0.7 of a second. I don't think this is going to be close enough, but he will, of course, get DRS again, separating himself from turn 3 to turn 4. Just that little straightaway there. A Snake now into the pits himself, so he should be onto the hard tyres till the end. So Herman trying the undercut. He's the only one to have not pitted in this top. Let's see. He's the only one to have pitted within the top 10 as of right now. So we are waiting for other drivers to kind of do their strategies. At the moment, Russell Siri unable to get past despite the DRS. So that Aston Martin holding strong for now in 6th position. And he's had a good few results, unless you count the DNF. Well, he had a good result in Imola a couple of weeks ago. I'll just bring up the results for them. That was, of course, a second place for him there and then, but has 4 positions to try and make that up, and really needs to try and work with Rush the Siri here. But it's very difficult when you're trying to go into turn 1, and now Rush the Siri is close as ever been. But in actual fact, now the top 2 begin their round of pit stops, but we're just bringing you that information now, and here we go. So Herman has a 2-lap advantage on these two with the undercut. Who's going to come out top between fellow son and Danger David and Herman? And there you go. We're seeing Rush the Series to the outside in turn 1. Does the Aston Martin fight back? No. But what about Herman? He has gotten ahead of David. But when it's come to fellow remains ahead of the Mercedes driver. So that should be Herman up into second place. Nice call by the Mercedes driver there. And only 2 laps advantage there for the others around him. That's some really nice play there from Herman, of course, proving why he's a championship contender, playing the strategy in what may be a weaker track for him. Energetic, though, has now assumed the lead for the first time. It's increasing that gap to Truckster ever so slightly. 3.1 seconds separate him and second. Rush the Siri trying to make an impression here, but has got Daryl for company. And they're kind of in a race of their own right now. Don't fight too hard, or else you could be losing a lot of the advantage you could be gaining. Especially Daryl on those hard tires. But now Truckster into the pits. Obviously, his teammate went in 1 lap ago. Daryl with a 1:19.234, so 1.7 seconds off his best. These two will now be promoted up into second and third, only because they haven't done their pit stop cycle. Now, the Aston Martin, does he have a look into turn 1? No, but we will now go to fellow son and Herman, the German there. This is essentially what is the battle for the lead. I wonder what kind of strategy they are playing at McLaren with Energetic there. So we are seeing pit stops, so positions are changing left, right, and center. And DeAndre at the moment is, of course, gonna have the oldest hard tires once the cycles are complete. But he will be disadvantaged towards the end of the race. So will he just try for fastest lap to try and reduce the damage? Between the 3 races, only 1 podium as things sit right now, so he would love a safety car to bring himself back into contention. But that looks to be a far cry from happening right now, as things have relatively continued on despite the retirement from Brown there due to his internet connection. That was a really unfortunate state of affairs for him. The German, though, losing the advantage of DRS in the S's there, so must have made a mistake there. No track limits penalty for him as of right now, but Deja David is now closer to him. The Alpine driver going to essentially be going for second position as of right now. Fellow son with the fastest lap of the race. Can anybody respond in kind? Not right now. Not Herman, not David either, but here we go. Into turn number 1 we go. That Mercedes tries to cut across the inside, but not too far, as now Deja David gets that move done, and into turn 1 he goes. Slight lock up from him, but affects nothing at all. And that is, well, essentially what is written on the wall as second place, as now, of course, David will have DRS again, as 1 detection zone covers these 2 DRS zones. Well, pit stops are just about complete. We are still waiting for Quan, and I think it'll be sinful to complete a stop, as Gino now gets past the V-Carb, who is on 15-lap old mediums as of right now. Energetic, though, just to kind of recount the lead of the race. Daryl and Energetic, of course, holding out the top 2. These 2 yet to stop, as is Sinful up there in 7th position. These 4 drivers holding out for a safety car. As Jolly Boy John now gets what is another 3-second penalty, and Deja David joins suit as well. Another one of the drivers needing to sort out his track limits business, or else he will be out of contention. As Deja David there with the fastest lap of the race, but all for very little. Unfortunately, it's Enzo now with a 3-second penalty, but he's down in 16th, and he'll be so disappointed with that as well. Very unfortunate race for him. Won't surprise me if fellow son has less swing on than Herman. You know what? That could be it, you know. And now Deja David as well, who could have been a race winner, but now his 3 seconds might put him in a shadow of doubt. But if he can actually gap fellow son, considering he has been faster than him when in clean air, this might actually work out for him, but only just. Of course, now we will have Daryl and, of course, Energetic coming in as well. But I imagine they will go outside of the window of Herman here. And Herman might just be tire saving as well to try and go longer on these hards to kind of compensate for the advantage that these 2 drivers, that all the drivers would have had around him, to be honest with you. But at the moment, this is where the battles are. Now, Truckster as well is making inroads on the V-Carb here of Rush the Siri. And Andy Andre as well is trying to make inroads on the Kick Sauber here, as now the Kick Sauber is overtaken, but now he's looking to try and fight back here through the stadium section. No dice, though, as of right now. But look at Sinful. He's missing his front left end plate. And sadly for him, he will need to come in and fix that at some point. But he's trying to go as long as possible to try and see if a safety car will save his life. But right now, the battle for what is essentially the lead of the race reignites. Stage David with DRS here on this second straight. Of course, remember, one detection zone. Where did David overtake Herman? I mean, I saw it. I mean, about 2 or 3 laps ago, I would say. As now Chuckster does indeed make his way past. Rush the Siri there. That is for 9th position. And now we'll begin chasing the Kicksauber ahead. As now Chuckster will have a second helping of DRS, thanks to what I mentioned earlier. And now coming through turns 4 and 5, he has got that all sewn up. So now, of course, Sinful suffering with damage here. So Truckster should be able to catch up fairly easily through the S's section. But that V-Carb hasn't let him go just yet. Oh, Truckster again with a 3-second penalty. And these follow him around. And that is really unfortunate for him. So again, now he has to take into consideration penalties at the end of the race. Well, the Ferrari driver, and he's had the pace. He has the pace. I know he does, but unfortunately, it just never quite comes to fruition for one reason or another. Danger David, yet again, really close to the back of that McLaren, but doesn't quite have the straight line speed to get it done there. There's the disappointed tap. Anyway, into turn number 4 now. Still nothing to separate them, but now Rush the Siri making a move on Truckster there. That is still for 8th position. So these two really don't know the definition of helping each other. That Kicksauber has still stayed out despite its damage and despite its tire life. He's really trying to hang on to them. Andy RJ as well, not really making any sort of impressions. He's in a race of his own. And I do believe Rush Siri is slowly taking time out of him, as now Jolly Boy John does make a move on that Kicksauber. That is for 10th position. So he'll surely begin to drop off into the next pack, which are right behind him. And at this point, you're probably going to start seeing him drop off altogether, as now fellow son. Oh, look at that. It is Linus Stern going through the final turn of 17. And now both the McLaren and the Alpine will have the DRS to boot. Darrell trying to defend the inside here. Herman not too far off, 1.3 seconds. He's done very well to keep within that gap. We are going 3 wide into turn 1. Who's going to end up ahead? Darrell makes contact with the McLaren. It's still 3 wide. Oh my word, crazy stuff there from the Aston Martin. As now the Aston Martin forces the Alpine off as well. That is not going to help Danger David one little bit and his 3-second penalty. But now that's all said and done. Oh, wow, the Aston Martin fights back again. Look at this. The Aston Martin doesn't care that it's got 13 lap older hards than the drivers around him. He's fighting for all he's worth, and Herman will just be taking that into consideration and just being a little careful there. But through the S's, he will lose an advantage there of the DRS, and Danger David has also had to drop back as well. Darrell to the inside again. Herman will have DRS, and he breaks as late as he possibly can. In fact, Darrell lets him have that. He doesn't try and fight that too hard at all. He must know that Quincy's watching, and Quincy's watchful eye might have taken issue with some of the contact there, but that was exciting racing from the 3 drivers there. And Herman does indeed lose his DRS advantage. So now we cut to the closest battle, which is for 8th position, which involves Rush the Siri, but might become 7th position in just a little bit, as Rush the Siri has 9 lap younger hards than the Williams in front of him. Of course, Andy RJ, the current world champion, and of course main championship rival to the Mercedes of Herman there. But this race has thrown in a few surprises there. Jolly Boy John does make the move on the V-Carb driver, but it will matter very little, as he does have a 3-second penalty. Truckster trying to come back at him as well, but to no avail thus far. Here, of course, Truckster will, of course, get another helping of DRS, but I think he's just a bit too far back to try and make that work. Indeed he is, and of course, everybody using their ERS down that straight, and it remains, well, as it was after they went into turn number 3 there. Jolly Boy John, though, has got that gap down to Andy Andre to under a second, so they will start benefiting from the DRS, and Rush the Siri might be a little annoyed with that, you know. He was trying to catch Andy for that specific reason, and now it's all gone to waste. But now, Energetic makes his way into the pit lane, as now those 21 lap hards have seen their best, and he goes on to the set of mediums as he should. Can he get out in front of Andy Andre? That might be the most important driver for Energetic as of right now. Of course, Moksha was way too close there. I think he's just about going to do it. It is going to be very close, though, as they will be hurtling towards turn 1 at over 200 miles per hour. And Jolly Boy John does indeed have the DRS on the Williams. And there we go. The McLaren is actually safely ahead by over 5 seconds, actually. So that's an impressive stop there. Well timed. And now Energetic is going to probably be looking at gaining positions ahead, because Herman at the moment occupies third. Darrell still fourth. Needs to make a pit stop still. But as of right now, it's looking like the McLarens could be on for a 1-2 here and taking away maximum points. Who has fastest lap as of right now? That's something that I will need to look at, just so that we can take that into consideration as well. Oh, no, that's not it. And there you go. Fastest lap. Oh! Oh! Someone's gone! Someone just went! Someone, I thought, just went. Did anyone else see that? I thought someone just dramatically went off. I think that was Jolly Boy John there, but somehow has kept it all together and is now behind the Ferrari Truckster. Oh, wow. Last of the late breakers there as Truckster gets another 3-second penalty for track limit violations. Like I said with Truckster, schizophrenic Dave. Probably, but Dage David holds the fastest lap of the race as of right now. But there you go. I'm a bit confused there. My apologies there. But anyway, at the moment, Dage David now half a second to the leader. Of course, the morning battle is now Russ Series passes Andy Andre there. That will be frustrating for the potential championship contender there. I thought Jolly Boy John lost a couple of positions there. He looked to have gone wide there as Truxton was overtaken yet again. I saw someone go wide there. Oh, you're right. Haas had a massive snap. Yes, there you go. So I wasn't seeing things there. I was just alert. I was testing you guys. I was just testing you. It's okay. But look at Energetic 6 now. On those fresher medium tires, as you would expect, from 4.2 seconds to the Red Bull, now 2.4. So this is really impressive stuff. And fellow Son here, I think, might deserve my driver of the day. He has absolutely played a blinder. Danger David as well, having a good race as of right now. He would secure third position, but of course, that charging McLaren might have something to say as now Danger David makes a move into turn 1, takes the lead of the race, but he will have, as we've already know, due to track limits, he has a penalty to serve at the end of the race, so it is now imperative he tries to build a gap to fellow Son, and at least then he can at least look at trying to cover off that charging McLaren is now. Andy Andre and Haas make contact into turn 1 there, going side by side, and Andy Andre loses yet another position. Now Truckster might be having a go at the Williams driver, and now to the outside. Whoa, nearly cutting each other off there. Bit of contact maybe into turn number 4. And now, the over-under from Truckster, despite his 6-second penalty, and he gets that done. And Andy's frustration from today continues on. He spun off, coming through the SS here, got front wing damage, and sadly that brought an end to his race. But look at Danger David now, over 4 seconds ahead of Herman the German, that is. Danger David with the fastest lap of the race. That is very impressive from the Alpine indeed. But Energetic could be on for what is an epic drive as Moksha has now made his way past there. But that is because Darrell is now heading into the pits on 24-lap-old hards. Well, he tried to make it work, but sadly wasn't quite meant to be. But Russ Series leading the way in this field. As now, look at that, the McLaren has caught up and at a good time too. With 12 laps to go, he should just about have enough in the tank if we do check the intervals to the leader very quickly. It is about 12 seconds, so he needs a second a lap. He needs this DRS advantage more than he realizes, but at the moment, couldn't get the move done there into turn 4. What a move, man. I know, right? What a move indeed it was there. And now, well, Andy Andre's misery goes from bad to worse now. We're behind, well, 6 seconds, so we get the place back. But now Daryl gets 11th place there. He was in behind Tarkangino when he came out of the pits, but has been able to make that work. As now Energetic finally makes his move for 4th place. And now it'll be 11 laps to go at the line. Can he find a comfortable gap to try and catch up? But at the moment, it might not come to fruition. Now, Fellow Son is catching up to the lead of the race yet again, and Herman is perhaps starting to get a hurry up on. He's now got that gap at about 3.4 seconds. It's all going to be nip and tuck here for the McLarens now. Of course, Fellow Son, regardless, has that win guaranteed, and Herman now is starting to close that gap himself, actually, as now Jolly Boy John up into 6th, despite his penalty. And despite the penalties, can't believe how fast these front two have been. Incredible, absolutely, indeed. And a quick shout out as well to David as well, improving in pace as well. Well, he's always had the race pace, but he's just not quite had the qualifying performance to match. But today he's proving why he should be taken as a serious championship contender in season 5. And Herman as well. Well, he's just kind of had to play it a bit quiet. Of course, we all know that he couldn't quite finish on the podium last time out in Mexico, and that may very well become a reality yet again, not because of a penalty, but because of Energetic really charging through. But look at the mistakes he's making through Sector 3. Fellow Son will have another go at the Alpine, but now that only helps Energetic more than anything. Herman seeing the best of his tyres there. To the inside goes the McLaren, and that lead swaps. But now we will cut back to the battle for 6th, which is between Jolly Boy John and Nasiri, of course, ignoring the penalties that are going to come the Haas's way at the end of the race. A DRS open for the V-Carb. Should get this done. Into turn 1, the Haas goes defensive. And, well, it's not defensive for long, but also now Daryl will be beginning to make a move past his teammate. Daryl just on a recovery race at this point, and he's actually having a good one as of right now. His race pace is proving to be better, and his quali pace. Pleasant Stake as well in the background, making a move on Tarkangino there for 12th position. And at the moment now, Energetic increases that gap by 2 seconds to 5th place there. So, of course, those medium tyres are proven to be a hell of an advantage right now. And a lot of battling. Well, it might just go quiet for a bit here at the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. But I am sure it will all come time. Forget us. Rush the series now with a 3-second penalty for track limit violations. So now the battle for 6th opens up again. Rush the series kind of playing himself into a corner here as David makes a move for 1st place there. Herman still not quite close enough, as now we are going to see Jolly Boy John reignite that battle, and he'll be uplifted by the fact that the driver in front of him now has a penalty and could take advantage of this for him. So that saves his race, but to the inside at turn 1 he goes, and that's up to 6th position for him yet again. So they're playing a bit of swap the parcel there. Oh, we have a caution in sector 2. It's one of the Red Bulls. One of the Red Bulls has lost it. I think it's one of the Red Bulls, but I'm not too sure. Or is that Skid Solo? No, I'm trying to figure out who that is. Actually, is it 17th? Is that? Yeah, it's Quan. No front wing at all for Quan there. So that was actually a V-Carb. I do apologize there. Bolly Joy Bon and Quan there trying to go through things here as of right now. Well, we're gonna resume racing, but I think for Andy, he might have just had a glimmer of hope. That has all been denied now. As actually, we see the battle for 6th there. He comes across his teammate, so all the way down to last for this V-Carb driver, and I think that might be the end of his race, if we're being truthfully honest with you. We will save him the embarrassment as well. Yeah, no, he's bringing out all the yellow flags in Sector 3 as of right now. And he's just allowing drivers through. That is a Ferrari and a Mercedes there. So that'll be Pleasant Stake and Tarkangino just going through the stadium section as well. But Energetic right now still bringing chunks down, as we will now try and see what the gap is to leader. 9.3 seconds. So I think he's got to run out. I don't think he's got enough time to catch up to the top two. So it looks like it's going to be Danger David and Fellow Sun rounding out that top two. But in terms of third place, this is where the battle will be now. As of right now, Energetic is catching up to Herman at a rate of knots. 3.2 seconds separate him, as Kavachka now with a 3-second penalty for track limit violations. We'll cut to the battle for 14th for the time being, as well it's Sinful sharing 16 seconds in penalties. Nice for keeping out of the way, Quan, says Quincy, so proud of him there. Hearts and P6, surprisingly realistic. Indeed it is now. But Enzo kind of not doing his best here. Well, not bringing the same effort that Jolly Boy John has there. As at the moment now, Andy Andre got overtook by Truckster there. So unfortunately for him, he's now lost a bit more time as well. And Herman as well, losing now over 5 seconds to the lead. So now this is the battle that we want to keep an eye on. It is between Energetic and Herman the German. It is for a podium position. And as of right now, Energetic could be looking to improve a position on his start. He was 4th. Herman was 7th. They were on different positions on the grid. Herman with an electric start on lap number 1. But Energetic playing the strategy to an absolute beauty. And he is now in contention. Well, to benefit from his patience there. Went on the hard tyres for 21 laps. And now he has 10 laps fresher tyres than Herman, and surely Herman's tyres will begin to fall off the cliff. We'll soon see, though, as now Herman looks like he's found a bit of pace from somewhere. Down to 4.6 seconds is the gap to second place, so maybe Herman has been tyre saving all this time. And now looks like, look at that, just in a corner or two, half a second found. But maybe that's because there is also a bit of battling going on in front, as Tarkin Gino is the next driver to join the 3-second track limits penalty list. And that is, well, let's just see the totals before we go to the end of the race. So it's Truckster, Jolly Boy John with 6-second penalties. So in actual fact, Russell Siri and Jolly Boy John aren't fighting for position in reality. And it is unfortunately a bit all said and done there. Daryl still trying to catch up to Andy Andre there and try and benefit from any sort of penalties there as well. Now, well, Andy Andre and Truckster are beginning to swap position yet again as Truckster fights back on the outside there. On the Williams, and now Daryl is surely given one heck of an advantage to try and fight with them yet again, as now that gap goes down to 2.2 seconds. And now Andy Andre to the inside there. And, well, what will become the outside? And, of course, the Ferrari forces the Williams driver off. And just pure frustration for the championship competitor. It has just not been his race. And now he can see an Aston Martin behind him by 1.3 seconds. And now that will be for a genuine fight for position. And, well, he needs 6 quali... No, nice. He needs 6 quali laps. That is, I believe, Energetic. As now Energetic has... thought he had the DRS, but obviously the detection zone didn't pick him up as underneath a second there, so it will be no DRS going into this. And now Russell Siri overtakes. Oh, contact! A lot of spinning here. Something's happened. Jolly Boy John with a mistake there, and a Ferrari following suit. Who was that? I think that was Truckster, actually. Yeah, it was. And now Jolly Boy John retires from the session. And Andy probably with no grip on 25 lap old hards. You would be correct there. No, John, says Anno, as he was hoping that there was going to be a Haas, and Quincy not sharing the same dramatization as Anno there. But now with 4 laps to go, Daryl has a chance at 7th position. Energetic has a chance at 3rd. And now this battle opens up. Well, and now we have a caution set to 1 thanks to the Haas, but that Haas will just park off, so don't worry about that. You can ignore that, no problem at all. But now Jolly Boy John, with that retirement, 17, what was 17 now becomes 16. Here we go. First DRS zone on the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. It is now SSRL Energetic 6. Hopefully looking to the inside there as we scream by the Haas that's parked up there to the inside. Energetic 6 with third position. But does he have enough time to catch up to the cars in front there? He will get another helping of DRS, but Herman again loses out on the podium. And it has been just a very unfortunate turn of events for Herman yet again. Loses the podium in the dying embers of the race. Of course, remember that instant with the next Haas driver too. Indeed. That is the case. Chugster was in the Haas last season, and I do believe there might have been another incident with him. But now we need to look at Darrell because he's got past Andy RJ there. So great work there from the Aston Martin. We missed that move. I do apologise there. But now Darrell could be up to 6th position. What a drive this would be from himself. He has had some unfortunate circumstances at the beginning of the day. We didn't know if he was going to show up, but he has. And boy, has it been worth it. With 3 laps to go at the line for him, he will bring home what has been an epic drive. And one of his best, I am sure. He will go from, 30th position to 6th position if things stay as they are right now. He has DRS as of right now. And he will surely get this move done into turn 1. Rush to Siri has nothing in the tank. And there you go. Darrell gets that done as easy as you like. And my word, if qualifying could have been a different story, could he have been up there on the podium? We will never know for sure. But Deja David as well, another one of the drivers we need to highlight. Also up 7 positions from 8th to 1st as of right now. But of course, once the penalty comes into fruition at the end of the race, that will of course demote him down to 2nd. But Energetic as well will be trying to look out a 1-2 for the McLaren. He needs 2.3 seconds in 3 laps, and I think Deja David will be more than aware of that, as at the moment now, in fact, they're catching up to lap traffic there. So Energetic will get a helping of DRS as Enzo with another 3-second penalty, so that's 6 seconds on his total, sharing that with Trugster as well, of course, Jolly Boy John, and Kwan as well with 9 seconds. Flipping it, Kwan. But anyway, now, look at that. Williams just park it off and no DRS helping for Energetic there. Caution in Sector 1 while the skid solo lets the other drivers just kind of make their way through. So 2.3 seconds needed here in order to bring himself within a chance of getting 2nd place. But I do think those tyres have probably seen their best. Once it gets into the mid-teens, it is very doubtful if those medium tyres will hold out for you much longer. Deja David, so unlucky. Indeed, he is. But in a way, he was also talking about his qualifying performance. As you see the McLaren go wide there, he was just talking about how it just wasn't quite good enough and he needed to improve to have a chance at the championship. Of course, the fact that he's actually going to finish ahead of all the championship rivals in this circumstance, that will play crucially into his hands at the very least. Any gap chipped away is any gap welcomed. We will go into next, and then going into next week, it just gives you that little bit of a boost, so it should be welcome more than anything. Rush to Siri trying to make a move, although I'm not quite well, I do know why, because he doesn't want Andy RJ on his tail all of a sudden, although Andy RJ will still benefit from the position towards the end of the race. But Andy RJ as well, with good damage control and on 28 lap old hards, he's not doing all that bad for himself. I've got to say that for free. Andy as well, showing that what still can be done. But Energetic has now begun to lose that gap to the top 2. So it looks like once they share that DRS, it's just impossible. But here we go. Darrell lets Rush the Siri to the inside there. And will concede that position for the time being. But oh my word, the V-Carb having a bit of a squirrely moment through turn number 2 there. And now, well, he will get a second helping of DRS, so that will prevent Darrell from going down the inside there. But Darrell right now should have 6th place, all things considered, as now Deja David and fellow Son go side by side through the stadium section. They are just having it out. And we are on the final lap as it stands, but it will be fellow Son. He won out here last time out in SSRL. It'll be 2 out of 2 in Mexico for fellow Son. What a race from him. Energetic couldn't quite pip him, but it's third place for him. Herman again denied a podium for the second time, and it is fourth for Herman. But for the Red Bull of Moksha, considering he was on his debut last season, he has proven to be excellent. He scores fifth place. It might be Rush Siri across the line in sixth, but it will be eighth place as Daryl takes sixth and Andy in seventh. And I do think that driver of the day, I'll take that, and I think that is a beautiful tribute to the one closest to him. Indeed, what a drive, up 7 positions. There you go. So that is, I'm sure, a tribute to somebody who was very special to him indeed. But fellow son taking the headlines this week. He is the winner for the second time in SSRL around this track. And fellow son proving that he still has the pace between F123 and F124 when it comes to the Autodromo Hermanos Rodriguez. Not a bad thing at all. And now the session comes to an end. Well, we were treated, well, perhaps it was the classic by any means, but still a lot of exciting racing there up and down the field. And we will go and have a word with our top 3 in just a second. We will allow the podium celebrations to commence first, and then we will go to the podium. And then, well, we are then going to go into the post-race interviews. So drivers will start to get ready, and we already have Energetic in here, but we are just going to wait a little bit. So I'm just going to mute myself just for a bit. There you go, the McLaren on the top there. So first and third for the McLaren team. And in the constructors, just while I bring up the table, going in to round number 3, they were placed in 7th position, but after taking a great haul of points, the champagne sprays, and that should easily be above quite a few teams. I would dare say they've probably even jumped up into either 5th or 4th position. And as of right now, your final race results, as of right now, fellow son taking the win in Mexico. Danger David with the fastest lap there for 1:16.1 in second. Energetic 6th in third. Herman in 4th. Moksha 5th. Daryl in 6th. Andy in 7th. 8th is Rush Siri. 9th Pleasant Snake. And Trickster rounding out your top 10 drivers. 11th is Kavachka, Tarkangino 12th, Enzo 12th, 13th even, Sinful 14th, Skid Solo 15th, 16th Quan, and your 2 DNFs were Jolly Boy John and Tabran, rounding out your 18 drivers who took part this evening. Herman the German is actually in the commentary box as well, but he wasn't on the podium by any means, so I will obviously have a word with him, but we do have our winner in the commentary box. Fellow son, congratulations on that win. You, of course, took the win out last time here, but that was on a completely different game on F123. What was there any sort of difference to your prep for Season 2's race in Mexico to Season 4's race here tonight?
Thank you, firstly. Yeah, not really. I was just hoping that I could get away in the first couple of laps. And I have some people fighting behind me, so I can build a little gap. But honestly, I was really surprised to get pole, and then to just be able to run away. Later on in the first stint, when my tires started to go off, people started to catch up to me, and Danger David gave me a really anxious couple of laps in the end. So yeah. I'm very surprised, but very happy, and it's very good points for the team.
Indeed, it is. The points for the team going into this evening were, of course, you were in 7th with 29 points, but of course, any sort of result could have changed things around. And now you could be looking at 4th or 5th position, depending on how things work out. Was there any sort of team strategy at play? Because we noticed on the broadcast that Energetic went out on the hards while you were out on the mediums. Was there any sort of play there just to bring Energetic into the frame towards the end of the race? Or did you two just have completely separate strategies?
I think we just had different strategies there. He did try to help me during quali. And I would have got a really good lap in, but it was my second fast lap on the same tire, and the tires just couldn't take it in sector 3. But we didn't really talk. But you know, I think both of us, if the other one is there and he needs some help, we're gonna go and help each other.
All right. Now, in terms of your battle with Danger David for those final few laps, he was, of course, on a 3-second penalty. Was all that fighting with the Alpine driver? Were you starting to gain track limit warnings? Were you under the pressure? Because you were talking about how nervous you were in the final couple of laps.
So I got two track limit warnings, and I thought I had one from earlier as well. So I was 100% sure that I have a 3-second penalty, but the game is bugged and it doesn't show it. So it was very nerve-wracking in the end to try to take first place on track as well, just in case. I don't see a 3-second penalty, but I have one.
All right, then. Well, next week we go into Interlagos for round 4. So will we be seeing you on the podium again, or are you not so confident going forward?
I don't think so. Not in Brazil. It's one of my worst tracks. I don't know why. But I seem to struggle on it.
All right. Well, look, fellow son, thank you for taking my questions this evening. You may depart the commentary box, and again, congratulations.
Thank you very much. Thanks.
You're welcome. Danger David, what could have been without that 3-second penalty? Congratulations on second place regardless, but how do you feel coming out of that Mexico race?
It was a good race. I think I maximised everything I could. I started in 8th or 9th position. I dropped back to, I think it was 11th or 12th at one point in the first few laps. So I think being able to climb back through the pack was a good thing to look back on. But certainly it's disappointing that I couldn't escape Fellows and the DRS. I don't know if you noticed, but I was trying to recharge the battery and then escape him in that final section at the stadium. But I just couldn't get that final couple of corners, and every time he just came straight back into the DRS range. So yeah, I'm happy with second place. I think I maximised on the track today.
Of course, you did earn that 3-second track limits penalty there. It's been a little crux of yours in some certain races. I believe in Imola it even affected your final result, but then again, don't quote me on that. Unfortunately, my memory's a little short. But where was it? Is there anything you could have done about that looking back?
I think certainly I've got to review how aggressive I am some points, and I think certainly pushing through the pack, I may have pushed it a little bit hard at a couple of points. I think the main thing, 2 track limit warnings were just, I think it was the exit of turn 3 and I think it was turn 6 and 7. It was just I lost the traction a bit, and sometimes when you lose the traction, the car shakes and you just go outside the track limits. So yes, errors are made, and unfortunately another 3-second penalties. I'm just quite thankful that I didn't finish the race in first position, because I think if I did, I'd be a bit more gutted.
Okay. In terms of the championship, you will of course talking about your qualifying performance. Now you qualified 8th here, and it would have been a 7-position improvement if you won. But is there anything you can do, you think, in qualifying that would have maybe have helped you this week?
Yeah, the final run, I invalidated the lap in the final corner. I think it was about 2.5 to 3/10 of my time, so it was definitely enough for front row. But it was just another stupid mistake in the final corner. It costed me. Believe me, I wasn't happy. I'm thankful I had the microphone muted. Yeah, I'm going to look to improve, of course. There's areas that I need to improve: the track limit warnings and the qualifying, just setting that perfect lap.
Right.
I was very happy with my pace in the race. I think I was flying by a few big drivers on the track.
Of course, as mentioned earlier, we are going to be in Interlagos next week. How are you feeling about the track in Brazil?
It's a good track. I've done a few races in it so far in the last couple of months, so I have confidence there. But you never know. Like, you've seen the grid in the qualifying session, you make one little mistake in quali, and you're back in the middle of the pack. So I think once again it's going to be a big focus on qualifying pace, and then just getting yourself comfortable in the race. So if I can qualify up front, I think I can maybe aim for a podium again.
Yeah.
But it's a tough track, Brazil.
All right, then. Well, David, again, congratulations on second, and thank you very much for taking my questions this evening. You can leave the commentary with, and we will hopefully see you up here next week.
Thanks very much. Thanks, guys.
Welcome. Moving on to Energetic 6, an absolute strategy masterclass from the McLaren driver. You got your team not only a first place, but also a third place thanks to your strategy there. You overtook Herman in the dying laps of the race. How do you feel about that?
Feeling a little bit like I'm in a dream, living in a dream, because I didn't felt that confident on the car in previous practice races. I just changed a little bit, and it felt like I was on rails in Sector 2.
And in terms, and now obviously you said that you didn't actually communicate, well, at least from what Fellow Son said, there was no communication between you and your teammate. Do you think that should be something that changes going into the next few weeks?
Well, I'm almost in the same party every week. Like Ibo's listening to me while racing, and now another one was joining. So don't know if that's happening, but I'm trying to see what he does every time and trying to help him whenever I can. I like to be a badass.
All right, and in terms of Brazil next week, that was one of Fellow Son's weaker tracks. How about for you? How are you feeling about Brazil?
Last few games I was terrible at it. Just I couldn't get a stable setup, and that's what costing me a lot. So I hope to be consistent enough to get points, not on the podium again.
All right then. Well, look, if you are here on the podium next week, we look forward to seeing you then. Congratulations on third. Thank you for spending your evening with me, and hope to see you next week. Bye-bye for now.
Bye-bye.
Alrighty, well, a surprise here has joined us. 4th place, Herman the German. Congratulations on 4th regardless, but it just didn't quite come to fruition in the end. Energetic popped you in the last few laps. What was your prep coming in, and how did the race go for you?
Yeah, honestly, Dave, I was struggling for the whole session today. Honestly, the race was the biggest part because I messed something on the setup up I needed to change before going into the race, and that cost me, mostly my exits in the first and third sector. So the race wasn't really on my cards today. I couldn't keep up with the top two guys, and then when I realized there was a lot of saving to do in terms of resources, both fuel and ERS, I couldn't manage to hold on, and the energetic passed me. The pace was unfortunately gone because of that missed change. I didn't realize at the time, and then it wasn't working for me. So just nothing I could do there at the end when the race started.
It was an electric start into lap 1, though. You got from 7th to what was 4th position, and then you were looking very good. It just looked like the strategy didn't work out for you. And of course, even last time out, it was obviously you finished 2nd from what I believe, and then you had a 3-second penalty, which brought you outside of the podium positions. How does it feel to have that happen again? Not necessarily because of the penalty, but because of strategy this time around.
I think the strategy wasn't too bad. I undercutted Fallison with 2 seconds. I was at the time mostly caused by my mediums weighing out too much because of the setup change, and then after that, holding on to what I believe was originally going to be 3rd place. But last time it was totally different race. We had like try to inters to full wets, 2 red flags, and everything just was chaos. And then you sometimes have a moment where you tap a driver and then it's a time penalty. So I think that was totally different story, and there was still enough pace to be ahead of the rest of the field. Like Moksha was in a good race again today, and he was like 10 seconds almost behind me. So I think the top 2 were more divided than the rest of the field overall, spread at the end there. So that was totally different story. I'm a bit more unhappy about how I messed that up, mostly on my side, because as I said, random events with red flags last time out on last year's game was a bit more in a different part of the box, I'd say.
I see. In terms of next week going into Interlagos, how are you feeling about that track?
It's better than Mexico. As I said, it's my most hated track. But Brazil is something in the middle. Like, it's not on the level of Kota, a bit around where Imola is, and that is pretty much in the middle for me. And I think the most opportunities you can get them is maybe rain. Obviously, very famous for that. But overall, I think there still should be a top 5 performance in there. I don't expect another Andy spin out like today, which was very surprising to me, but also could have happened because the car was so loose. So honestly, yeah, just we have to wait and see. Stronger tracks are still coming up for me. So yeah, it's the middle ground right now. But if Pep is correct again and works for me, then I'm certain there's a top 5 finish in there.
All right, then. And just one last question before you do go. In terms of your championship fight, you couldn't make it race 3 wins out of 3 wins this week. But in terms of who you're looking at as a championship rival, Andy has had a very rough start to the season. Are you perhaps looking at somebody else as your main rival for this season, or is it still mainly on Andy as of right now?
To be honest, during the race I already thought about Fellison because he was up there after Kota. Obviously was missing the first race, could have been there, and I know him. We fought out the season 1 title when he was in the Alpine and I was at the Haas. And I'm currently looking at him. David has shown some strong pace, but as he mentioned before, his qualifying performance is a bit lackluster. So I think Fellison, regarding Andy's performance again today, is really the main rival coming up soon. And if more races happen where he finishes like 10 or 15 points maybe ahead of me, even when it's like a top 5 finish for both of us, then it's going to be him quite soon on my back. And that happened last season as well, where I had a nice lead, then 2 races were kind of shitty, then he got back to me, and yeah, before the final shootout, let's say, I got it done, but it was still close and on track. We also betted each other, so think Andy can't be counted out, but it's Fellison for me right now.
Okay, then. Well, we'll see how that develops. Hopefully you'll have a better race next week around, and you'll be back with us on the podium this time. That's next time around. Thank you for taking my questions. Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Welcome.
Good
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Guys, that is the post-race interviews all rounded up. Herman giving us a top 4 interview rather than a podium interview there. So an extra one for you there. And that's, of course, your championship leader. Well, next week we are off to Brazil, which will be Interlagos. Then it is our first 3 qualifying session around China on the Shanghai International Circuit. And it will be the Red Bull Ring in Austria. Then off to Viva Las Vegas in the USA. And then we'll go to Lusail in Qatar and Abu Dhabi with the Yas Marina circuit. And then our finale and our final 3 qualifying session to Spain, Barcelona before the Christmas break. But otherwise, from everybody and myself at SSRL, we wish you all the very best. Catch us at 8 p.m. GMT next week if you want to see qualifying as well. But from wherever you may be in the world, I wish you a very good morning, good afternoon, good evening, or good night. Stay safe, stay alive, and see you next week. Bye-bye for now.